mid-19. What's happening? Uh, I thought I was going to sneeze. It's one of those sneeze that's right there. It's like, but it doesn't come. I hate those. Because I be fiending to sneeze. I love to sneeze. Anyway, got a topic for y'all today. It's a continuation of what I was already speaking of. Fuck. I feel like I'm having allergies. Something that is irritating the mood of my body. It's something that I wanted to talk to you guys about, the nature of the man and the woman. Specifically, I'll be talking about the nature of the woman. But we're not going to talk about the nature as in animalistic nature. No. We are going to speak to the core of the woman and the core of the men. What makes us all up? The atoms. We are made out of atoms, which makes us up as human beings. Within an atom, you have the proton, electrons, and a neutron. You feel me? And every living thing on Earth cannot exist without an atom. So they all have these things. It's the balancing of each other that makes up the atom. So you have the neutron, which is in the middle of it all. Then you have the proton, which is closer to the neutron. And the electron, which orbits the neutron, the electron which orbits the proton. I know it sounds complicated, so we're gonna make it as simple as possible. The proton is positive, the electron is negative. So the man is the positive, the positive is masculine. The electron is negative, which is feminine. So you have the man and the woman, and that's how we came to be as human beings. We represent the very nature of us. You see, within us, there's an atom. And within an atom, it's a proton and a neutron. It's a proton, a neutron, and electron. The neutron is basically even kill. It's more like nothingness. The neutron it sounds like neutral. You feel me? That's where the word neutral came from neutron. The neutron is just something that plays both sides. Basically, it has nothing in it. It is basically empty. Basically, it's empty without a void. It's basically, if you have positive, you have equals negative. It balanced things out. That's what a neutron is. So in the very being of us, hold on. In the very being of us, I only got like 10 minutes, so I gotta rush this topic. In the very being of us, we have an atom in us. And in each atom is the masculine and female, which is called proton and neutron. And when you look at the definition of these for the proton, and you look at the description or the definition of an electron, this is where you find the man's nature and the woman's nature. And this is how you get to determine what the person's nature are. You feel me? You have to go to the core of it all. You can't just be like, well, I watch a female animal and the female animal and the lioness did this, so no. You have to go to the element, the core of it. And the core of it is basically an electron, which is a woman, is the smallest particle in an atom. And the proton is much bigger than the electron. So that tells you, from that very statement, it tells you that majority of men are, the makeup of a man is much bigger than a woman. We have bigger muscles. We have our bones density is a little much bigger than a woman. So from the very core of it, the proton is bigger than a neutron. The neutron is the smallest particle. The electron is the smallest particle. The proton is a bigger particle than a neutron, than the electron. Bear with me, this shit is crazy. The proton is bigger than the electron. The electron is what the woman is, because the woman is much more. We're not talking about these big. I'm not talking about no big girl. You'd be like, there is big women. There are girls that are bigger than men. Granted, that's true. But we talking about, if you was to take the average man overall and the average woman, men are much stronger than women. It's a fact. You feel me? That's why most armies, you have men in there. Men are the one that build things. The reason why, because it's in a man's nature to be bigger, because his proton is big. You feel me? Electron is much smaller. It's the smallest particle. It has an electrical charge. It is the smallest particle, but yet has the stingiest. You ever got striking by electricity and everything else like that? How can something so small have a force like that? You see, a woman still has the force of electricity. It will shock you. Her very nature has electric in there. It's fire. There's a fury in a woman's. You feel me? That's what a woman carries. But her frame is small. But don't sleep on her. You feel me? We go into the very nature of this thing. We diving deep into the being itself. I'm not making this shit up. I'm telling you, you need to watch. I was looking at the definition just to make sure, so nobody can come with me and be like, oh, he's just making this shit up. No, this is the very core of who we are. Now, you see, in the atom, right, the proton, which is masculine, is much closer to the neutron. The neutron is stable, very stable. You feel me? The neutron is the darkness of it all. It's the nothingness. You feel me? It doesn't take no size. It's very, I don't want to use the word logic, but it's very logic in its approach. It's fair in its judgment. That's what the neutron is. Now you have the proton, which is very close to the neutron. So a man's nature is calm. It is to think things through before he reacts. He's logic in his. I'm talking about a real man. I'm not talking about any kind of man. I'm talking about what a man nature is supposed to be. So a man's nature, which is proton, is closer to the core of a neutron. You feel me? The proton is the closest. So a man's real nature is to be logic, reasonable, understanding. You feel me? Your very nature is strong. You're supposed to protect. You feel me? You're supposed to build. You feel me? Anything that comes to anything that's masculine, that's your nature too. But the thinking part is that when you that close to the neutron, you supposed to be fair. You gotta be fair in your judgment, in your assessment. You feel me? You gotta be reasonable. You gotta be logic. Now, a woman's nature is in the electron. Now, electron is orbiting, which is basically moving around, going around in a circle of motion around the proton and the neutron. And I said previously, anything that orbit around anything is the gravitational pull of a man as the gravitational pull of the sun. That's why the earth is orbiting around the sun. So the sun itself is masculine. And Mother Nature, which is earth itself, was why they call it a Mother Nature, it births. You feel me? And we on the electrical playing field. So the woman is the earth itself. She acts like the earth itself. You're supposed to plant something in her and she multiplied these things. At the same time, the fact that she has electrical in her, she has that fiery in her, and she orbiting in chaos. You feel me? She's not close to the neutron. So her very nature is very fiery, chaotic. She needs something that can put her in her place. It's to talk some kind of sense to her, because her very nature is kind of wild. And wild does not mean bad. Wild means untamed. Wild means it's like she's more. Wild means basically something she cannot be breaking. She cannot be folded or broken or anything else like that. She's wild in the sense that she's how can I put it? let's just say that she is somebody that controls her own destiny. A woman can control her own destiny, basically. That's what I'm saying. Because she's out there in orbit. She's orbiting around the proton and a neutron, constantly going around it. But she's the smallest particle, and she has the most energy in her. But yet she's very small. Her petiteness, the fatigue of her structure is small. So the man with a massive proton, the proton is bigger, is the reason why the man can control the woman, because the mass of the proton is what the woman is orbiting around, because the gravitational pull of a man. Understand that? I just want that to sink in a little bit. I need it to sink into me myself. That's why a man or a father who has a girl, fathers are always want to be closer to their girls are always want to be closer to their father, and the father always want to keep her daughter under her control and everything else like that. And girls levitate more to men because of this very nature in her. She has no, it's like she can't control it. You feel me? It's like she cannot control this very, very nature of her. It's in her. It's embedded in her. You feel me? Although she's wild and erratic and she's very promiscuous and she's all these words. She's supposed to be all these words. A man is supposed to give her a reason to put her in place. So that gravitational pull is the reason why she will submit to the man. Once she submit to you, she orbit around you. And just like the earth to the sun gives information, which is sunlight, gives information to the earth, and guess what the earth does? The planes break it down. Our body breaks down this sunlight for vitamin C naturally. The plants break it down for photosynthesis. So that's what a woman does. So a man will give a woman an information, or a man will come to a woman. That's why the woman is a companion. Even the Bible said a woman is a companion to the man. Because once a man provides to the woman, I bring you food, the woman breaks it down and cook for the whole family. So she's supposed to what? Multiply. You feel me? Although she's negative, at the same time, that's why a woman has a penis and a vagina, because that little click right there is a penis. Really, she's the best of both worlds. She takes in what you give her and she multiply it abundantly. That's why she's the birth of nations. She's been trusted to give birth to nations through her womb herself. You feel me? But her very nature, if she's not controlled or not, I want to say put under authority, because that sounds very harsh. But she needs a leader. She needs a logic leader. She needs someone who's closer to the source, which is a neutron. The neutron is the purest form of energy. You feel me? The neutron is the darkness. It's the nothingness. It's what everything came out of. That's what the neutron is. So it's the same thing as the sun and the earth itself. You see, the sun is orbiting around a black hole, and the sun and the earth is orbiting around the sun itself. So the sun feeds its energy from the black hole itself, or the universe. You feel me? The universe is orbiting around a black hole, which the sun is also following a pattern of. But the earth is orbiting around the sun itself. So there's an alignment going on. So when they speak about these things in the Bible, you get to see the alignment, how things are falling in place where one is mimicking the other, and they have a system of organization and operation going on. You feel me? Anything out of chaos will literally be shot out the Milky Way, which is our galaxy system. So if a woman, which is the planet, was to come out of chaos, she will be flown out of the Milky Way, which means she will be out there and she wouldn't be able to be fruitful. She is at the earth, which is Mother Nature, is at the right spot where she can orbit and be fruitful and have water, clouds, and everything else, and look the way it looks outside of space. She's the most beautiful thing in our Milky system. But if she was to be out of place just by an inch, she can look like Mars, or she can look like Venus. She can look like, because she's out of place. That's why a woman has to totally submit to a man's will, her husband's will, or her father's will. You feel me? This is very important because it's in the very nature of the woman. Now, a woman can't just submit to anything, because there are planets that we've seen that is bigger than the sun itself. The man has to be a leader for a woman to submit to that will. You see, the proton, if the proton was not that size, the woman would not submit to it. The electron cannot submit to something that it feels that is bigger than. So a man also has to behave and act like a man, you feel me? Has to especially think like a man and manifest like a man before the woman can even fall into that place. So when we look out into the universe itself, we seeing ourselves. We supposed to behave and be as masculine as the sun itself, and also be as gracious as the sun itself. The sun provides us with sun every day. At the same time, it's so massive. It's like, damn, this shit can destroy us. You feel me? If you study the sun and everything else like that, you get to see what I'm saying. How can something be so massive and look so dangerous, but yet so nurturing and giving and life bringing? You feel me? Water is just another form of the sun. It's just in a different version of it. Hydrogen, right? H2O, right? Hydrogen is a gas that's made out of the sun itself. Two oxygen, right? Oxygen is also a form of light itself. So that tells you that this is the sun just expressing itself in a different format. You feel me? So the sun, which is us too, you have to be, in order for you to be an alpha, you can't just be only masculine and you don't have the mind to, you have to look into a lot of things, bro, just to be the man that you're supposed to be, as nature intends for you to be. A lot of people rule with an iron fist, but that's a mistake. Because once you show people how to rule with an iron fist, all it takes is somebody with a bigger iron fist to rule over you. You see, when you look into nature, the alpha is usually the one who brings people together and work as a community. So a true leader is the one who can bring people together, who is fair in his judgment. You see, when we take a look at the animal kingdom, like let's take a look at the chimpanzee or the gorillas and everything else like that, the alpha is not usually the biggest one, honestly. The alpha is always the one who can defend itself, so it's not too massive. He's the one that organized the crew and bring the crew together and make sure the crew works together as a unit. And everybody respects him. You feel me? This is the human form of it all. You gotta be an alpha in that sense. And this is how a woman will totally submit to you. A lot of men want women to submit to them, but they don't even know how to be the sun. They don't know how to be a true alpha. They don't know how to be a true proton. You just don't have it in you because you haven't done the study for these women to even submit to you. So how can you expect a woman to be a woman? A woman can never be a woman if there's no men. The only reason why a woman would choose to orbit around a proton, because it's a proton there for the woman to fall into a place. So if there's no men for the woman to orbit around, then we would not have the woman that you're looking for, because you're not that person. You understand? Because that means the electron will be wild. It'd just be chaotic. It's in her very nature to be chaotic. She has that fiery. She has that rage. There's nothing worse than a woman's thorn. That's what they say. She's supposed to be that. That's her very nature. Her nature is wild. You feel me? Look into nature. Nature is wild. You see what it was a wild. We just domesticate these animals. No, animals are wild. You feel me? I'm not saying that the woman's nature is an animal. We're all animal, but at the same time, her nature is just wild. She needs something to tame her down. She needs something to love. Her very nature is love itself. The world is built out of love. You feel me? She needs something she needs a reason to be there. And if she don't have that reason, she will play that reason. You feel me? So we don't have men that are masculine. Look at this tree. This is as masculine as a tree gets. Look at this shit. This is massive. Compared to me, look at how strong it is, even though it's old. Look at how strong this tree is. You feel me? This is just a small sample of what of a nature. Look at it. Look at it. You feel me? This is a small sample. Nature itself is powerful, but yet so calm. You feel me? This is hold on. Damn, my bus is supposed to be here already. And I only got 20 seconds. Literally seconds, it says. Thank God I looked at it. So long story short, men have to be protons and women have to be electrons. In order for a woman to be an electron, a man has to be a proton to bring that out.